Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to have you here. The topic we're exploring is 5 common behaviors that quietly kill relationships. We'll be looking at subtle ways we might be damaging our connections without even realizing it. Over the next few minutes, I'll share insights on these behaviors and how we can recognize and address them. Let's get started. Most relationships, surprisingly, don't usually end because of one big, dramatic betrayal. Instead, they tend to fade away gradually. This happens through repeated patterns of unhealthy behavior that slowly chip away at the foundation: trust, respect, and emotional connection. What's interesting is that these behaviors often seem small or insignificant in the moment, like little irritations or misunderstandings. But over time, these small issues build up, creating distance between partners, fostering resentment, and leading to emotional detachment. This highlights an important aspect of maintaining healthy relationships, paying attention to those small patterns before they become big problems. It's a reminder that the health of a relationship isn't just about avoiding major crises, but also about addressing these small, repeated behaviors that can quietly erode the bond over time. Connecting this to the overall theme, it's about understanding how our everyday actions influence the long-term strength and resilience of our relationships. Understanding these destructive habits is really the first step. It's important to recognize what behaviors might be harming your relationship without even realizing it. Once we identify these habits, we can start to learn how to replace them with healthier alternatives. This isn't just about avoiding negatives, it's about fostering positive, supportive interactions that strengthen your bond. If you want a long-lasting, fulfilling partnership, it's essential to focus on these changes. By understanding and addressing these habits, you're setting the foundation for a healthier, more connected relationship. Remember, it's a process, but one worth investing in for the future you want to build together. Let's talk about constant criticism. Criticism isn't just about pointing out mistakes or flaws, it's how we deliver it that really matters. When criticism becomes personal, attacking your partner's character rather than focusing on the behavior, it can cause real damage. For example, statements like, "You're always so lazy," or "Why can't you ever do anything right?" might seem like they're just expressing frustration, but they actually undermine your partner's sense of self-worth. These kinds of comments chip away at their confidence over time. It's important to recognize that such criticism can create a cycle of negativity, making it harder to communicate effectively and build a healthy relationship. Remember, the goal is to address issues constructively without attacking who your partner is at their core. Over time, when we default to criticism rather than constructive feedback, it can create a very defensive environment in the relationship. Instead of feeling supported, both partners might start feeling attacked, which makes it harder to connect and resolve issues. The key here is to shift from criticizing to offering constructive feedback. This means focusing on specific actions rather than making general or personal judgments, and expressing our needs clearly without labeling or shamming the other person. For example, rather than saying, "You never listen to me," which can feel like an attack, we could say, "I feel unheard when you're on your phone. Can we talk without distractions for 10 minutes?" This way, we're addressing our feelings and needs directly, without blaming. This approach helps create a more positive and open environment, where both partners feel heard and supported, rather than attacked. It's an important step toward building healthier, more respectful communication in our relationships. Contempt, as relationship expert John Gottman famously calls it, is really the kiss of death for any relationship. Now, it's important to note that contempt isn't just criticism. Criticism attacks specific behaviors, but contempt goes a step further by communicating a sense of superiority. This can show up in things like rolling your eyes, mocking your partner, using sarcasm, or belittling them. When we do these things, what we're really saying is, "I'm better than you," and that can be incredibly damaging. Contempt is like poison because it erodes mutual respect, the foundation of any healthy relationship. And once respect is gone, intimacy tends to follow right behind. So what's the antidote? It's practicing admiration and appreciation. That means deliberately noticing your partner's efforts, even the small ones, and expressing gratitude for them. When we focus on appreciation, we rebuild respect and foster a stronger, more loving connection. When conflicts come up, sometimes people respond by shutting down emotionally or physically leaving the conversation. Now, taking a short break to cool off can actually be healthy and helpful. But the key thing to recognize is habitual stonewalling, where someone withdraws, ignores the other person, or gives the silent treatment. This sends a very clear message of indifference. And that's a crucial point because indifference can be far more painful than anger. While anger might feel intense, it still signals that you care enough to be upset. Indifference, on the other hand, signals disconnection and can be emotionally damaging over time. So, what's a healthier approach? It's self-regulation. When emotions run high, it's okay to pause and take a moment, but the goal should always be to return to the conversation with the intention to resolve, not avoid. That way, we foster connection and understanding, even during difficult moments. When we're criticized, it's completely natural to want to defend ourselves. But often, defensiveness shows up as denial, excuses, or even counterattacks. And that's a problem because it prevents us from finding a real solution or understanding each other better. For example, if a partner says, "I felt hurt when you forgot our dinner plans," a defensive response might be, "Well, you forget things all the time too." That kind of reply turns what could be a constructive conversation into a blame game, making it harder to repair the issue. Instead, the key is to take responsibility, even if only a little. For instance, saying, "You're right, I should have set a reminder. I'll do better next time," shows that you're willing to acknowledge your part. This approach fosters openness, encourages trust, and keeps the conversation moving toward resolution. Remember, defensiveness might feel like protecting yourself in the moment, but it often blocks the path to understanding and healing. Sometimes, the biggest threats to a relationship aren't loud or obvious. Neglect can be silent, but just as damaging. It often shows up when we start taking each other for granted, neglecting to prioritize quality time together, or falling into routines that replace romance. Over time, what once was a passionate connection can start to fade, and instead, we just coexist like roommates. The key to preventing this is intentional investment. Just like our physical health needs regular exercise, our relationships need consistent effort. Small gestures of affection, genuine curiosity about each other's inner worlds, and shared experiences are vital. These efforts keep the bond alive and prevent it from slipping into neglect. So remember, neglect isn't always loud or obvious, but its impact can be profound. Staying attentive and making deliberate efforts daily can make all the difference in maintaining a strong, loving connection. And here we are at the final thoughts. Remember, strong relationships don't demand perfection, but they do require awareness. It's important to recognize that criticism, contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness, and neglect may seem like everyday frustrations, but they are actually the silent assassins of love. The good news is that all 5 of these behaviors have effective antidotes. Instead of criticism, try replacing it with constructive requests. This opens up dialogue rather than shutting it down. When you feel contempt creeping in, replace it with appreciation. Focusing on the positive helps strengthen your connection. If stonewalling occurs, work on regulated communication, staying calm and engaged. For defensiveness, take responsibility rather than deflecting blame, which fosters trust. And instead of neglect, make an intentional investment. Prioritize your partner and your relationship. When couples consciously choose these healthier patterns, they build a foundation rooted in respect, empathy, and emotional safety. These are truly the cornerstones of lasting love. So, as we wrap up, I encourage you to reflect on these small but powerful shifts, because they can make all the difference in creating a resilient, loving partnership.